Hey, we've made it. The preseason for 2024 is over. And hey, the Vikings, we went undefeated. We went 3-0. I don't know when the hell the last time would have been the Vikings had an undefeated preseason. I think they had a bit of a run with Zimmer winning preseason games. Obviously, we hadn't won one with KOC yet until this year, and now we're on a roll, 3 in a row. Uh, beat the Eagles 26-3 in Philly, in the hated city of Philadelphia. Um, Obviously, this game was what the final preseason game always is, whether it was when they had four or now when they have three. Nobody played. Backups and backups to the backups and backups to the backups to the backups. It was just, especially that like that second half was just unwatchable, just boredom. Um, and yet you know, we had a nice afternoon, and I spent 3 hours inside watching this game, and I'm spending even more time doing this video. So I might have psychological issues that are undiagnosed. So obviously, like everybody's playing is either barely hanging on to a roster spot or fighting for one. Jaron Hall was the starting quarterback. Um, he played about 2.5 quarters. He looked fine. I mean, he had a couple nice plays, a couple good scrambles. He threw 2 touchdowns, one to Tristan Jackson, who I'm almost surprised he played because he's locked into the roster. He's probably going to be the number 4 wideout, and another one to some guy I don't even know who. um, he looked okay. I mean, he looked fine. He did have one interception that was called back by a penalty, but maybe the interception wouldn't have happened without the penalty. I don't know. I'm still consistent that I don't want to waste the 53-man roster spot on a third QB who's not going to do anything for you even if he gets in a game. But I know they don't think that. They think they've invested already a year in Jaron Hall. Um, you know they you know they they're not gonna give up on him. Um, the only other QB was Matt Corral. He played a little bit in the fourth, but they barely even called a pass play for him. So that's why it didn't end up being much. So obviously it's going to be Hall. I don't think they're going to try to sneak him through the practice squad. I think he is going to make the 53. I wouldn't do it, but that's what they're going to do. Um, uh, the other probably headline player, Lewis Seen, he had that big game last week against Cleveland. People thought, oh, maybe this is maybe now he's getting a showcase and maybe he can turn things around and actually and still make something of his Vikings career. I don't think so. I think that ended today. He had a couple penalties. He had a DPI, and then he had like almost like right after he had a penalty on a return. So and they kept playing him, right? I mean, he was still playing, I think, at the very end of the game. So they played him the whole way. Um, I think roster cut down deadline is Tuesday. I think he's gone. I think they'll wait and see if they can get some seventh round pick from somebody for him. Maybe. I doubt it's going to happen. So I think much maligned and deservedly maligned first pick of the Quasi era is going to officially, if the word bust isn't stamped on Lewis Seen already, it will be now because he's going to be released. I would be very shocked. Plus, there's some cap savings there too. I think. Um, you know, and like with Hall, like, are you going to keep Lewis Seen to, at the expense maybe of someone else who might actually have a little more of a future? So it sucks. I mean, it's been talked about a million times with Lewis Seen, like the pick, the trade that ended up with the pick. It was just a bad thing. It was a bad draft. It was a very bad draft. Um, Quasi has certainly seemed to rebound with the drafts and other personnel moves since. So, but I mean, people are gonna hold that Lewis Seen. Oh, we could have drafted Kyle Hamilton. Did you know that? They're gonna hold that over Quasi forever. And I've gone over probably in other videos like why people hate on Kwesi, it's because he didn't jettison Kirk Cousins immediately. But even now that Kirk is gone, they're gonna still hate him. So yeah, bad draft. And it is what it is. But run game looked good again. For whatever it's worth, maybe it's worth absolutely nothing. The Vikings run game has looked pretty good in this preseason, regardless of personnel, who's in there for us, who's in there for them. I think it was Myles Gaskin got most of the carries like early in the game today. We did get a little taste of Mo Ibrahim. They just picked him up a couple days ago, and was like, oh great, the Gophers all-time leading rusher. We brought him in. I was hoping they'd actually give him a little more of a shot in this game, because maybe then he could stick on a practice squad. I think the way they used him, or barely used him, I think he didn't even get in the game till the fourth quarter. He had to have a couple nice runs, but I think he was just brought in just as a body. I don't think they're even planning for him for a practice squad. I think they would probably put like a Gaskin on there. They're going to keep a running back. So what else? I mean, the defense overall obviously had a big game. Only gave up 3 points, and some of that, a good chunk of that game was against Kenny Pickett. Boy, has he fallen since he was the future of the Steelers just a year or two ago. And now I guess he's going to be the QB2 with the Eagles, which is kind of surprising that they would even play him for half of a preseason game. But we got a couple fumbles, we got a pick in the end zone, and I think we had like 4 turnovers on downs. So I mean, for whatever it's worth, the guys who were out there on defense today, they were after it. They were really playing well. So there's probably going to be there's I feel like they probably have a little bit more depth on defense than we're used to. There have been some guys, throughout camp and preseason who have kind of stepped up and kind of made a name for themselves. McGlothern, Levi Rodriguez, there's a couple other guys who I think are gonna either make the roster or be really, really hard cuts. Which is good. I mean, you want to be cutting guys. You don't want to just be cutting everybody who's like sucks. You want to have to cut a couple guys who you think are pretty good. So, and Will Reichert highlighted the second half by far. He drilled a 57-yard field goal. I'm hoping, we're all hoping, for God's sakes, we've been tortured with kickers for a generation plus here. Hopefully this guy's for real, because he's been very impressive throughout camp and preseason. Had that one block, but again, blocks I don't usually blame on the kicker. He ain't gonna make every kick, but hopefully, knock on wood, maybe we've got a guy who can be we don't have to worry about it. Like, we just have to ride the roller coaster like we have for years. Like when we had Greg Joseph, and it was just this roller coaster. Like, okay, he would get some big kicks, and then he would miss some easy ones. It was just mind-boggling. So hopefully he's good. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, we know they didn't take this game too seriously because they had KOC mic'd up for the whole third quarter. He's joking with PA, joking with officials. They're obviously not taking this game very seriously. even the coaches, I don't think too many roster spots are really were really left up for discussion coming into this game. There might be one or two, and obviously if there were injuries, I don't really think there were any injuries, mercifully. Yeah, I think there's always a surprise or two with the cuts. Cuts are coming by Tuesday. I don't know what the deadline is time-wise, probably like mid-afternoon or something. So we'll see. And it's the same as every year. They'll have the initial 53, and then other guys will become available, and then they'll go pick those guys up. And then it seems like most years there's like a trade of somebody, or we pick up somebody, So there's going to be something that happens, but I don't think there's going to be anything too earth shattering. I don't think there's going to be any names that get cut who people are going to be just absolutely shocked by. I mean, Scene will probably get cut, but that's the biggest name, and I think most people expect that to happen. So, and 2 weeks from tomorrow, kicking it off in New York against, well, technically New Jersey, actually, kicking it off against the hated Giants. We'll see how things go. You know, I'll do like a season preview thing. Obviously, I'm going into this just to keep it short one now. I'm not going into the season with any playoff expectations. If we get there, great. Nothing's better than unexpected success. I think we'll be competitive, but just a lot of knocks on us already, just from camp and preseason and just the fates and just you know improving division. Like I think it'll be tough to make the playoffs this year. And I never say that. I'm a homer. I bleed purple, drinking the purple Kool-Aid. I'm always thinking the Vikings are going to make the playoffs, even if I'm not thinking they're going to go like on a run. I'm always thinking they're going to make the playoffs. I just don't know that I see it this year. I just it's. But again, if they do, then it's going to be even more fun, and because I didn't expect it. Um, I mean, hell, this will probably be the first year that I haven't picked the Vikings to go to the playoffs. I don't know, since the early 2010s, maybe like the Teddy rookie year, maybe something like that. It's been a long time, but we'll see what happens. I do trust this coaching staff in front office that they know what they're doing, even if we're gonna have to, eat it a little bit this year and kind of a bit of a not a full rebuild, but a soft rebuild. If nothing else, I just hope this season is not as torturous as last season was. Last season was just pulling teeth basically from week one. It was just, even when it was good, it wasn't good. So hopefully we can at least have something resembling an enjoyable Viking season. Uh, but that's all for the future. And I've gone on for 12 minutes about a preseason game that frankly was boring to watch. So 26-3, we win. Undefeated preseason, and we'll see what the regular season brings us.